In this video, we're going to show you some different ways to schedule your upcoming virtual design sprint in a way that accommodates everyone's schedule. One thing to know about in-person design sprints is that they typically have a certain amount of time that they take. Most of the time, they're 6 to 8 hours per day, Monday through Wednesday, potentially Thursday if you're doing a 5-day sprint, with some time that you need for prototyping and for testing. Experimental design sprints may vary in terms of how long or how short they are, but for the most part, you have some solid 25 to 30 hours that you're devoting every particular design sprint that you do to get everybody on the same page and in the same room. Virtual sprints act differently in the sense that the online together and offline alone times are distinct. For the most part, you have about 2 to 4 hours of online together time Monday through Wednesday that you schedule out with everyone so that you'll all be online in the same virtual room, on Zoom or in Mural, working through the activities that typically go into a design sprint. Then, when you don't need to be together to discuss things, you go offline to work on particular things such as ideation or perhaps even lightning demos and other activities related to the design sprint. The only thing the team will need to do is agree to the deadlines that they've set in order to get certain things done by certain days. Another unique aspect about virtual sprints is that not everyone needs to be present for testing. Individuals on the design sprint team can test individuals and record the results so that people can watch them and process the results on their own time, saving the together online time to talk about the results in retrospectives and how the results of the prototype matched up with the purpose of and the aim of the design sprint. Now, if you're looking to find some options on how to define that online together time during the week, the one I usually steer people towards is Doodle. It tends to be a very visual tool that integrates very well with other calendar-like options. It gives people the chance to go back and change their particular choices. Also, you get the option of putting increments of time and breaks in between certain hours. It's fairly flexible. And it's usually my go-to app to use whenever I want to schedule 5 to 7 people across a common timeline like a week. The only downside is that if you do Doodle too much, or even if you try to have eight options on one particular day, just the sheer amount of options can and will be overwhelming, so you have to keep that in mind. There's another one that's fairly popular called Let Us Meet, where everyone uses a common interface to schedule out particular times for their design sprint in a way that overlaps the times, making particular times that everyone can accommodate greener than the other times that are not available. If you have 5 or more people working with this application, it may tend to get a bit spotty in the sense that it's really hard to distinguish between something that's dark green where everyone agrees to something that's slightly lighter. Even though that when you can mouse over any of the names, you'll eventually get their schedule, it still can be kind of tough visually if you're not used to it. And finally, if you want to go really basic, you can try out whentomeet.com. It's as simple as it comes. It pretty much can do the same things that the first 2 options can, but the unique advantage of this particular app is that you can do it in real time. So if you want to figure out schedules with everyone during your online session kickoff that happens before the sprint, this is a perfect tool to use. You just have to keep in mind that there's no syncing with emails or calendars, and it's not very mobile friendly. It is one of those very basic apps that, because of the lack of functionality, will not be permanent. But if you want an answer in terms of when everyone can meet for your virtual design sprint, this is a really good go-to option. So when you're working out your design sprint schedule with everyone on your team, you'll have to be cognizant and mindful of offline dependencies people have with their family, with their job, and other things that'll be putting them in different directions. As a facilitator and also as a team member, you just need to keep in mind to be creative and flexible, especially with your own time and with others. Have conversations about what works and what doesn't, but be sure to reserve time, especially in the design sprint, for learning, for understanding the process. There will be people joining the Global Virtual Design Sprint that have never done a design sprint before, that will need that extra time to process everything and to ask questions of people that have gone through the process or are more senior in design. Either way, this is about empathy and understanding where people are coming from. And if you work out the team dynamics, More often than not, scheduling out a virtual design sprint for the full week becomes a painless exercise, and you get to know each other much better than you do now. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, please post them below. Otherwise, feel free to like and subscribe at your leisure, and stay tuned for more videos about the Global Virtual Design Sprint.